Now it's time to introduce our very special guest. He spends most of the time in LA and in Las Vegas when he's not bumping elbows with celebrities at parties. He's probably watching he's pro- he's probably watching or covering a WWE event. I'm of course talking about Arash Markazi, the host of the Arash Markazi show on the 1090, the mightier 1090. You can also read his work at themorningcolumn.com. Arash, hello to you, but we got to get right into it, man. The
Yes.
slap heard around the world. The Fresh Prince, Will Smith slapping the shit out of Chris Rock
That's right.
last night. What do you make of it? And I saw you already tweeted out the odds of the fight. Who
That's
you got?
right. Well, I think I got Will Smith because if you look, the form is impeccable. I mean, if you do a slow motion, all the training he did playing Muhammad Ali, really, I mean, full on completion, twist of the hips. It was a solid slap, and of course, if you're gonna hit Chris Rock, you don't want to like knock the guy out. Want to give him a slap. I had no idea what was happening. Like I had to like rewind it, and I was trying to figure out. But two things came from that, by the way. So Chris Rock is on tour. I'm not saying that this is a work or a shoot or what. Uh, he has sold more tickets in one day that he has sold in the past month for his tour. So you know, at least he's making some a profit off of that hit.
Yeah, that was kind of an awkward situation. Raj, you see kind of the crowd view. You see Jada not happy with it. You see Will Smith kind of laughing about it. You see other
Yeah.
people kind of confused and laughing about it. It was strange. But one thing for Chris Rock, because we were talking about boxing real quick, Raj, before you went on air with us. It reminded me of when Canelo was throwing everything at Triple G, and he just kept standing his ground. He wouldn't fall back. That was Chris Rock taking that slap from Will Smith. But Arash, is it really like already odds for a fight? Is that what Fernando was telling you? It's crazy.
On Bovada, yeah, but I mean, of course, these guys are never gonna fight. But it's always fun to like look at the odds of like what that fight would be. I think Will Smith is a slight favorite. But all these like celebrity boxing matches. I mean, who's to say they couldn't do something for charity? I doubt it would happen. But yeah, I think Will Smith is a slight favorite. I don't have the odds in front of me, but yeah,
TMZ
yeah,
reported this morning also. I don't know how he's become a boxing promoter, but Jake Paul
that's
offered
right.
them $30 million to fight to settle this in the ring. So that's how you know this is already a snowball effect. And people just want to, maybe they want to see it. Maybe people want to see what happens. My question is, does his mom now send him to Philly to learn how to fight again? Because that was
Exactly
a
right.
pretty soft slap in my opinion. I think she wanted to see a hit. So maybe they're trying to rebrand the Fresh Prince and send him back to West Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean because I think the slap was smart because if you would have him out. Maybe it's a little too much. Like if he had broken his nose and he's
Yeah.
bleeding, like that's just like a bad look. The slap wasn't a great look. If I'm being quite honest, I'm like, okay, like he made a joke in poor taste, but I think the slap was the way to go. Not as physical. I think we are both fight of combat sports. Like I would have preferred the knockout punch, but probably a smart play right there.
Yeah, Arash, we love the breakdown there. You're a boxing expert. You cover it all, but we have you on today to talk WrestleMania, the big week. I know for you and Fernando, it's a very special week. But for you, Arash, WrestleMania, what does that week look like for you? Is it busy? Is there parties? Are you running around doing stories? What's kind of the week for you coming up?
Yeah, it's hectic for me because I'm going to be working on the talent tryouts. They have a lot of college athletes now coming out, and we're going to be at the Frisco, the Star, where the Cowboys training facility is. So that's kind of exciting. I mean, I really enjoyed kind of working with some of the prospects. They did tryouts prior to SummerSlam in Vegas, and it's really cool to see some of those performers now on TV. So we'll see what we get. Again, the workouts or the tryouts are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'll be out there earlier than most working with the guys and the girls trying out. But it's an exciting week, and I've told everyone like who hasn't gone to WrestleMania before, like you don't have to be a fan to enjoy it and the spectacle of it. And so I was there a few years ago when they had it in Dallas at the stadium. it's incredible. It's such a fun event. So we'll see how it turns out. Again, it's 2 nights, and we'll see how long that they do this 2-night event, because next year it'll be at SoFi.
Wow, and that was actually my next question, Arash, because I think last year was the first time they're trying the 2-night event. I
Yeah.
was kind of liking it because I'm a big fan of Bad Bunny, so they hooked me on the one night. I'm like, oh, okay, now I got to watch the other night. So a good promotion there. But do you like that format kind of to maybe, for people like me who are kind of the casual fans, like, okay, 5, 6, 7 marathons, I can't do that, but I could do maybe 3 hours one day and 3 here.
I think that's the key there. I think the last Mania where it was on one night was in New York, and it went so long and so late, and it started to rain towards the end, and people couldn't find a way home. So they really had to do one of two things: either shorten the event or make it a 2-night thing. And of course, a 2-night thing, you could potentially make a lot more money, sell more tickets. But my preference, I'm like old school. Like, I like a 1-day event. When I think of this event, I view it in line with the Super Bowl and the Kentucky Derby and things like that. And that's like a 1-day event. So I'd like to see it go back to 1 day, but shoot, I mean, if they're selling out these stadiums twice over, then I think that's the smart play.
Yeah, and not just that, but sometimes they would have to bury like I'm gonna be honest, women's matches and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that because of like I remember a couple of years ago when Stone Cold and the Hulk Hogan and The Rock came out, they talked for about 30 minutes and they had to bury 2 tag team matches and I think a women's match too. And you saw it on this is how much of a geek I am. I would watch Total Divas because I
Yeah.
wanted to see kind of that backstage, and Nikki Bella and all these guys, they were disappointed because their match had gotten swallowed up because of it. So I kind of feel like I understand. I kind of feel like the 2-night thing is actually not bad, but I'm kind of like a Rush too. I want a 1-day Super Bowl event like that.
And then to your point, like, if the match is on late, well, let's just say it's like the main event. If you've been sitting in your seat for 7 hours, like, you're a human being, like, you get tired. So what would happen also would be like the main event would come and you're supposed to get pumped for that, but you're like, bro, like, I'm tired. I just want to go home.
No, I feel it. But Rosh, speaking of women's matches, I'm excited for both of these. It's
Yeah.
Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, and it's also Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Which match intrigues you more?
Charlotte and Ronda, only because, when I talked to Charlotte about this a few years ago before Ronda officially signed, I mean, this was the match that she wanted. And so I think this is also, a big moment for her and for Ronda, like, as well. I think when you talk about, like, clips of this event that could be on Sports Center and picked up by traditional sports outlets, this would be the one. So, but again, I love Bianca Belair. I mean, when so she suffered a really embarrassing loss at SummerSlam in terms of how short the match was. I said, okay, this is part of a longer play. This is part of a big storyline that's going to crescendo to the biggest stage that she can have. So hopefully she has her moment. But personally, Ronda and Charlotte, that's the one for me.
So Gilbert's gonna get mad at me because I'm geeking out. I love wrestling, and I have to ask, but I have to ask you real quick. To me, that Becky Lynch angle at SummerSlam, I felt like it was thrown together last minute, and they
Yeah.
needed Becky to just. They were like, "Hey, we need you to return." It's kind of like, was it a last minute thing, or was that really the plan? Because I thought they had built up Bianca really well, and I feel like for her to just lose in a 26-second match was kind of lame. So is there anything to that? Did they just throw Becky and say, "Hey, we need you out there"? Like, we just lost. I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of a last second idea, and that's why they threw her in there.
That's what I heard too, but it's weird. Like, even though, like, I work with the company now, it's like there's a lot of things that I have no idea whether it's a shoot or if it's a work, and so
Okay.
I've no idea. I wouldn't be shocked if it was last minute, but, like, I didn't know why they would do that to Bianca Belair. It just made no sense. But then it's like,
Exactly.
you do that if it's a part of a longer play.
Yeah,
So
and they're playing the long game. Uh,
exactly.
Arash, another match that Gilbert and I are very excited about is Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. I think they've built it really well. I think they've done some good stuff with it. I've heard rumors that supposedly Vince McMahon does think that Austin Theory is the next John Cena, the next big thing coming up. But what do you think about this match, and who do you think ultimately wins it?
I love it, and I think you're with me. Like Pat is just so good at what he's doing. I think he may be, the best in terms of like what he's doing right now in terms of sports talk, crossover, social media, WWE. It's incredible, and so it's been a lot of fun to get to work with him and see what he's doing. I'm excited for this because he's a little bit like that Shane McMahon type where he's not going to fight a ton, but the one or two times you are going to see him, he's going to do some crazy stuff. He's going to put his body in a position where he's going to feel it the next day. And the adrenaline, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like for him at WrestleMania, whether it's going off the top rope or whatever. I mean, he's going to do something nuts for sure.
So who you got in that one?
What?
Yeah, Fernando.
Oh, my bad. I said who do you have winning that one?
I got Pat McAfee, and again, I think like Gostin was probably the smart choice, but personally, I'm gonna root for Pat, so I'm gonna just say Pat. But
Okay, Arash, but for me, the thing that I'm kind of looking forward to, but I'm not sure if I am, mixed emotions. Yeah, keep going. What? Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh yeah.
The Texas Rattlesnake.
What?
I think Fernando enjoys these kind of appearances from like the old timers, but for me, I'm like, I don't like seeing them in this state. Like Undertaker, like retire, like you've done your time. And I love Stone Cold, and he kind of retired maybe a little briefly, so I'm gonna look forward to it. But being an older Stone Cold, should I expect a full match of Stone Cold? Is it kind of the quickie like Goldberg, or what should I expect for this matchup against Kevin Owens?
It should be a quickie unless they go to the outside and start circling the stadium and doing stuff like that. I am in agreement with you. I think Stone Cold hasn't been competing and he retired when he did because he physically can't do it. But maybe he's got one more match. Again, that's what the fans love to chant, one more match. So maybe this is his last match. Again, there was talk for years and years and years it would be like maybe a Stone Cold Hogan match, but so this is one of those moments where like Kevin Owens doesn't need to be put over. I mean, people know who he is, but this is a dream match for Kevin. And I think I'd be shocked if Steve is not coming back to do the honors, as they say, and kind of, but again, Kevin's of the point in his career where it's not like he needs that, but it would be an amazing moment for him. And I think with WrestleMania being in Texas, they like having that, whether it's bringing back The Undertaker or Stone Cold, bringing in the fans who have not been watching for a while to be like, hey, Stone Cold's one last match.
That makes sense. Like, it's working on me. So you want the older generation to come back and see what's going on with the new stars there, Arash. But I also want to ask you, because I know Fernando wants to have the main event question. He's all about the undisputed title over there.
Yeah.
But for me, Arash, I've seen that picture of you as a kid at WrestleMania. I forget which one it is. So you've been to a bunch of WrestleManias over the years. Is that the best one you've been to, that first memory, or which is your best memory for WrestleMania?
So WrestleMania 9 was the first one I went to at Caesars in Las Vegas, as you remember. Like that was where they had all the boxing matches on the tennis courts. They put a ring and a canopy above it. It is generally regarded, sadly, as one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. It was Yokozuna over Bret Hart, and then Hulk Hogan comes out and he challenges Yokozuna and he wins the title. I'll always remember that forever because it was like my first one. So I'm trying to think of like, do I have a favorite? I mean, that has to be up there because again, like I just remember that being a kid and what that was like, and I wasn't ringside. I was a few rows behind ringside, but as soon as Hulk Hogan came out, like I ran towards the ring and it was cool. There I am, getting that moment. And then I think the next picture is me when the Hardy Boys came out. And that was in Orlando, I think. And so that's just me, like, continuing to become a fan after all these years,
Man, that's honestly so much. I mean, that's awesome. And then I remember I saw you on that Hardy Boys when you could see Arash. Like, as soon as the Hardy Boys come in, you could see Arash playing inside. He's like, he has his phone in one hand and he's lifting up his hand in the other.
Because you still got to create the content, right? You got to put that on social, but you still got to enjoy the moment. I was totally marking out. I love that moment.
Oh my God, that's awesome. But Arash, now for the final match, this is obviously it's gonna be probably one of the biggest. I mean, we've seen it numerous times, but it feels like this one's different for some reason. Maybe it's because Gilbert's tribal chief Roman Reigns has finally ascended into who he's supposed to be. He's a heel. He's a guy that doesn't care. He's the bloodline, the next in line. that he's gonna face Brock Lesnar-less Paul Heyman, which is honestly interesting to watch him. He's fun. Brock Lesnar is fun. Speaking of Pat McAfee, if you have not seen his interview with Pat McAfee, go watch it. It is hilarious. But what do you think about this match, and who do you have taking home the two belts?
I'm looking forward to this. I like that it's sort of a champion versus champion, title for title, like the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan back in the day, Skydome in Toronto. I'm going Roman Reigns. I love heel Roman. I love what he's doing in his career. One of the great, my favorite people just to talk to and gotten to know during my time there. And so he's very genuine, very humble. It's going to be an amazing moment for him to be champ, as we like to say. So hopefully he gets that moment. As you guys know, Brock is a part-time performer, competitor within the company. And so wouldn't be shocked if he wanted to set up something else. But Roman to have that moment would be fantastic.
It's funny, Gilbert. A couple of years ago, Arash and I were there at SoFi Stadium. They were barely building it. They were putting it in. We were there for they were announcing WrestleMania and everything. And it's funny because I met Roman, and Roman was so chill, relaxed.
Yeah.
And some media people, I feel like sometimes take it a little too far and ask him some questions that he kind of goes, but he was really relaxed, really calm. Becky was awesome as well. But man, it's crazy. I feel like, because this is what I tell Gilbert, I feel like WWE superstars are different than athletes. Like, I feel like they know how to play. They know to give you great sound bites. They know how to give all that to you. And I feel like it's different. I don't know what you think, Arash, but I think they really kind of step it up for you, and they give you good sound bites for articles or for anything that you need.
Yeah, because I think that is part of what they do. You are not going to be a WWE superstar unless you can work the mic, unless you can talk to the media. Whereas with traditional sports or like actual sports or whatever, like you could be the best player in the world. That doesn't mean you're going to be able to talk well, or you could just shut yourself off. You can say, listen, I'm not going to talk to you, or I'm not going to, be someone who is a good, post game, a lot of these guys don't want to talk to us, right? So, but WWE is different. They know that it's a performance, and to get to where they've gotten to, they have to be comfortable talking on the mic. And again, most of them love talking to the media. Now, of course, I don't think any of these guys like talking to the media about, like, is what you do real. I think they're kind of tired of that kind of. Well, just because it's like at this point, like, we know it's scripted drama. Like, I mean, like I think we could get past that part of the question. So no, but you're 100% right. I mean, these guys are so good at what they do, and I've gotten to learn that too. When people are like, when you did like a sit down with so and so, was that scripted? I was like, no, like they know what I'm gonna like ask them. Obviously, it's to set up a storyline. But there's no script there. I mean, they know exactly what to do.
That's awesome, Arash. Gilbert, you got anything else for Arash?
No, that's it. I know he's a busy man. He's probably in Las Vegas or LA. I don't know where, but it's something big.
I was just in Vegas, by the way, for my brother's bachelor party, which was
congratulations to him.
Yeah, definitely. So.
Arash, if you have a ticket, if you come buy a ticket last minute, you let me know. I am now in South Bend, Indiana. I cover Notre Dame now. Yeah, so if you last minute you find a ticket somewhere, you let me know. I will go down there. But it's honestly awesome that you're going to be there. I can't wait to see the content that you put out, and hopefully the three of us will be at SoFi next year for WrestleMania. That
we have to make. I've
heard rumors about some of the main event matches for next year that they're thinking of, and if I get the great one versus the Tribal Chief, I'm going to have to be there in person.
We got to get The Rock. I mean, The Rock at SoFi. Come on. I mean, how cool was it that you both were there? I mean, The Rock at midfield for the Super Bowl. He's got to be in the ring at SoFi for WrestleMania.
Maybe that was. Hey, and remember, Roman was asked about that a couple of years ago. The SoFi WrestleMania was supposed to be 2 years ago.
That's right.
So he was asked about it, and he's like, he even looked, and he's like, look down there. Come on, Dwayne. He's like, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's see this. But Arash, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome. Obviously, we don't have to tell. Everybody already knows. At Arash Markazi, look at his content. His content is awesome. Thank you so much, Arash, for joining us.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.